schools monitoring students' Facebook pages, and we're joined by an attorney from I believe it's the SAPR law offices. Is that?
That's right, Kimberly.
How are you? It's Dalia?
It's Dahlia.
Dahlia, okay.
Saper.
Sorry, I don't have any pronouncer here for you.
That's
I apologize.
okay.
Any other information? So I want to talk to you about this issue. You've had to deal with it, I guess, or you've been researching it about what the schools are doing?
Yeah, well, my firm handles a lot of intellectual property and cyber law issues, as well as just general media issues that come up. And to that end, there's a lot of defamation that takes place on Facebook pages, and in the context of schools, a lot of cyberbullying that takes the form of, comments and mean-spirited jabs, all taking place in an online forum. So we have Obama's new initiative where schools are supposed to take a second look at what takes place outside of school, in Facebook accounts, online, and they have to figure out what is the appropriate measures that schools need to take to curb cyberbullying when it's not happening right beneath their noses in school, during school hours.
All right, we're going to bring the panel in because they've got some questions about this as well. TJ McCormick's with me here on set. TJ?
Hello, Ms. Saper. I'm just curious about one thing here. What exactly are the criteria that the Department of Education are going to be looking for? In other words, what are they? Are there buzzwords? Are there,
Yeah, well, the buzzwords are this. They sent out a Dear Colleagues letter. The Department of Education sent out a Dear Colleagues letter to different school systems, urging them to reevaluate what they are doing when they find that there's issues involving, sex discrimination or discrimination based on race and just general harassment of students during school hours. And they're saying that it's not enough to just maybe reprimand the harasser or the bully. They need to take a more whole-scale approach and have, seminars and mediations and change the culture of the school so that cyberbullying is absolutely not tolerated. In that letter and along with the initiative, the March 10th initiative that came out through Obama's department, there's been a whole slew of activity around what is appropriate and what isn't.
So are the people from the Department of Education going to be identifying themselves as such? Because a lot of people, you can't see their Facebook profiles unless they are friended, to use the Facebook vernacular.
Yeah,
so
there's
will
no
they
actual
identify themselves as such, or are they going to say, "I'm Bobby O'Hara, make me your friend," and meanwhile it's some bean counter down at the Department of Ed?
It's more of an appeal to school systems to take a more proactive approach in issues that take place outside of school. So there's no specific law that's been mandated. It's just more of a initiative as they've phrased it. The government's
I get you. No, but what I'm saying is specifically talking about monitoring Facebook pages. And in most cases, in order to see a profile, in order to see what's going on in a user's life, you have to be a friend of that person to see that.
To be able to access
will they identify themselves as the Department of Education?
It would be the school, though.
Well, there is no. Yeah, there is
the middle school. Go ahead. Sorry.
There is no affirmative duty to start monitoring all students' Facebook accounts, so I think that needs to be clarified. No one's asking the school to set up a dedicated person or the government to set up a dedicated person to review what takes place. It would be practically impossible to do that. So what they're saying is, hey school, if and when you think that there's a problem, you need to get on top of it. You need to then go into the student's Facebook account, make those postings disappear, or reprimand the students so that they'll never go online and do what they did before. So the practical issue is what's at debate here is when should a school and how much liability does a school take upon themselves if they're not as proactive as as the government thinks they should be in curbing cyberbullying, in a place that they don't really have complete control over. They may not even get into those accounts.
And forgive me, there's just one more for me. To what degree does a Department of Education or a school have to chide or reprimand anyone for their activities outside of a school in a cyber virtual existence, a virtual realm like Facebook? I mean, who is to say? Is that what we're talking about? Or are you talking about?
No, TJ, no? You're talking about. You're talking about the Department of Education going forward with its focus on school bullying, which is apparently a big issue, and saying, look, here is one of the ways that might be helpful.
Right.
To see what's going on. The Department of Education is not saying you have to.
Right.
Okay, that's important. I first understood it as this was sort of a new decree that was coming down to schools. And they're saying this is a good idea, you know, so schools, I'm sure, investigate rumors.
But Ms. Safer just
talked
about reprimand, and I'm just wondering, where does the
What's
school's
the extent
influence
of that?
extend beyond the school
grounds?
grounds?
Pulls a kid in and says, hey, what's going on here? Or calls their parents maybe, the same as they would.
Yeah,
if they were here and say it
well,
on
there's
the,
a lot of moral and ethical, you know, dilemmas that present with this situation, but you know, nevertheless, I do favor a more proactive approach to stop bullying. I mean, this has gone on too long, and it's gone too far with the loss of lives. It's really interfering with the academic environment as well, and these kids need to be held accountable. This behavior is not okay.
I mean, I think discipline. Discipline on the school grounds when it happens, taking kids to task, taking parents to task. How about, is there anything?
I mean, no, that's the reality.
Yeah.
But if parents were
what about the parenting?
Involved, many parents, I know. You know what? It'd be great.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of
parents
who don't parent.
Yeah, that's a problem, and the parents, of course, are doing the monitoring as well.
Well, the problem goes down to the fact that it's difficult to control what happens online. So you have traditional means of discipline. You send someone to the principal's office, you sit parents down, or whatever the issue is. What the new Dear Colleagues letter, as it was titled, and what the initiative basically is trying to do is saying, look, it's not enough sometimes to just reprimand the student. You now have to get in experts to come in and talk to the students, explain what cyberbullying is. Because, you know, Facebook is everywhere, right? They can access Facebook from their phones. They can do it in school on the computer during their breaks. There is no more of a, this is school time, this is outside of school time.
There's a blend and an overlap.
Right, and parents often don't know what's happening online. So they're kind of relying on the school to be the first line of defense when there is a problem.
See,
now, if
I
you're
don't make that
fortunate enough,
connection. I don't know why I don't make that connection between what happens on my kids' computer. I know it's kids at school, but I just see this as a home. Again, I do. Kimberly made a good point. I think that I do prefer to see a bit more proactiveness because there are lives at stake. I get that.
It's a big deal.
But again, this is really a home issue. This is a parenting thing.
All right, you guys, we've got to go to break. I'm getting the wrap cue here, but very interesting discussion. Obviously, this is something, it's a topic that's controversial. It is worthy of continued discussion and exploration because, like we said, lives hang in the balance, and those are lives of children. I want to thank you so much, Dahlia, for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you on the program.
thank you, Kimberly.